Shields Up Ironbreakers, Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today I would like to talk with you guys about both Monster Hunter and Dark Souls. Now, for those of you that are not aware, maybe you joined in only in the last couple of months, so you've only seen my Monster Hunter World content. I'm actually a huge fan of Dark Souls. I've played the franchise extensively, both Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, as well as 3, Bloodborne, Demon Souls. I've played every Souls game, and I've played a bunch of Souls-like games as well. I thoroughly enjoy that particular genre, and you could almost say that it was the combat style of Dark Souls and a game like Dark Souls that actually eventually allowed me to further appreciate and understand the mechanics from Monster Hunter World, because the very first time that I played Monster Hunter, as you guys may or may not know, I actually didn't like it all that much. It was Monster Hunter Tri, and I did not appreciate that game at all because I was just not that used to Japanese games. Demon Souls was actually one of the first games that got me into Japanese inspired video games, and that kind of, like, how should I put it, the animation commitment combat, so to speak. This is the type of combat where you actually commit to an animation, where you actually perform an action and your character is locked into that action for a certain amount of time. The Souls franchise is what got me into that kind of combat, and then eventually I also started playing Monster Hunter as well, and you guys know. I mean, Monster Hunter and Dark Souls are essentially like my two favorite gaming franchises of all time. As a matter of fact, if you go back and see the trailer for my channel, which was done several months, actually, I think it was done almost a year ago at this point. I don't actually remember. But I mentioned those two games by name. There's a reason by that. I love those two games. And I've been waiting for Dark Souls Remastered for a while now, because when they announced it, I was like, cool, they're remastering it. So I started avoiding playing Souls games. I mean, I did play quite a bit of Bloodborne, which is, you know, it's its own thing. It is different from the rest of the Souls games. It's got its own different action style and whatnot. But I started distancing myself a little bit from the Souls games. And the reasoning behind that is because I wanted to go into Dark Souls Remastered fresh. And I just wanted to let you guys know, all of you guys that watch my Monster Hunter World stuff, that I'm going to be doing a lot of Dark Souls stuff. However, I also want you guys to know that YouTube is probably not going to tell you that I'm doing a lot of Dark Souls stuff. So you guys might not even see that stuff pop up in your subscription feed, because that's just the way the algorithm works. That's the way that it is designed, and I'm not here to bitch and moan and whine about it. I'm here to just make sure that you guys are aware, which is why we're watching Monster Hunter World footage, but I picked a monster that reminds me a lot of Dark Souls. I mean, let's face it, Valhazak is almost like an undead dragon, you know, in the middle of a bunch of corpses, draining the life force out of these corpses. So it kind of reminds me a lot of Dark Souls. And I brought in the Great Sword for this particular video also because of a reason. I don't know how many of you guys actually look up on the YouTube community thing. I don't know if this shows up on your feeds or how that stuff works, because it's always kind of weird how that works. But either way, YouTube is doing that thing where they almost have like a Facebook type thing where you can put up posts of stuff. And I put a poll in there, and it has like a couple of thousand votes. I put a poll in there where I listed essentially all of the offensive stats in Dark Souls. And then I also listed Pyro, because there's no stat dedicated to Pyro other than humanity in Dark Souls. But essentially, the idea behind that is for me to see what you wanted me to play. And I wanted to do a bit of a hybrid build, maybe pick whichever one was the highest. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about this poll, there will be, like, probably on the top comment, I will link to my YouTube community page, whatever the hell that is. You guys should be able to find that poll there. But essentially, the idea was for me to figure out what kind of a playthrough I would be doing and figuring out what you guys were more interested in. And as of this particular video, the highest voted stuff is Strength and Pyro. So basically, it's going to be like some kind of Strength Pyromancer build. I'm going to be doing something a little bit weird when it comes to Souls, but yeah, that's gonna be interesting. And just being able to go back and play it whilst being refreshed from playing other video games, I think is also going to be a really cool, if also extremely nostalgic experience. I don't know how many of you guys are interested in watching that because, like I said, I know that a lot of you guys are extremely into Monster Hunter, but I just wanted to make sure that I made you guys aware that that is a thing that is going to be happening. I mean, moving onwards, this channel is like the mainstays are definitely going to be Monster Hunter and Dark Souls. There will be other things that I will check out, you know, and there's other games that I definitely want to put on the channel multiple times. Like we've done some God of War stuff. We've done some, we've done other games, basically, is what I'm saying. And I'm sorry if I'm a little bit incoherent, but I'm actually sick right now, and I'm under the effect of paracetamol because I've gotten like this friggin' summer cold, which really sucks. Like, is there anything more annoying than a summer cold? Jesus Christ. But yeah, naturally, Monster Hunter and Dark Souls are like the mainstays, and I want to really focus on this specific genre. And most of the other stuff that I bring onto the channel is going to be related to these two games in some way. It's going to be in the same genre, in the same vein. It's going to be inspired by. These are things that I definitely want to focus on moving forward because I know that these are also the things that most of you guys want me to focus on. Or feel free to tell me in the comment section, you know, stuff that you would like me to focus on because I'm always curious to hear more from you guys. Does not necessarily mean that I will focus on those things, mind you. But yeah, so at this point in time, it looks like that particular playthrough is going to be Strength and Pyro. I'm not sure if the voting is still open or not right now. But if it is, you guys can still vote. You guys can still check that out and figure out whether or not you want to watch it. But I will be doing a full playthrough of Dark Souls. And I probably shouldn't because it's probably going to be bad for the channel in the long run. But I miss it, you know? I do miss it. I miss doing that. There's also going to be a couple of tips videos for Dark Souls because I know that there's also going to be a lot of people that haven't played Dark Souls because, let's face it, PlayStation 4 has had far more success than PlayStation 3, although Dark Souls was also available on the Xbox 360. But I still think there might be a lot of people on PlayStation 4 that have not played Dark Souls, and I think this is the perfect time for people to jump into it. Like I said, there's also going to be the Dark Souls on the Switch. Once that comes out, I will be playing that one as well. You can believe it because I'm super psyched about that game. And if you guys are like only Nintendo consoles, like that's fine. Like, don't worry about it because that's coming as well. And I would advise you guys that if you want to wait for it, then wait for it. It is going to be worth the wait. But just make sure that whatever you do, if you've never played it before, make sure that you at least check out some videos to make up your mind about whether or not you want to be playing Dark Souls. Because, again, this is one of, like, out of all of the Dark Souls games that ever came out, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, I mean, Bloodborne is not a Dark Souls game, but you guys get the idea. Demon Souls, out of all of the Souls genre, Dark Souls is still, hands down, with a bullet, my favorite video game of that franchise. As a matter of fact, up until Monster Hunter World came out, Dark Souls was and still might be my favorite game of all time. Right now, it is struggling with Monster Hunter World. If I'm to be completely honest, like, I'm still struggling to decide which one I like most. Because it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh, I gotta pick between one or the other. It's like, no, I love them both. I really do love them both. So like, I enjoy these games. And anyway, I'm just rambling a little bit at this point, but I just wanted to share with you guys that maybe if you're into Monster Hunter and you've never played Dark Souls, this might be a good time for you guys to check it out. Either way, stay tuned to the channel. Once again, remember, if you hit the subscribe button, you also have to hit the notifications thing. Otherwise, it is not going to work. And in case you guys are enjoying the particular build that I'm using on this video, there's a sneak peek to the whole thing. I mean, I'm not going to show decorations, but I do show like the friggin' stats and stuff, so it's fairly easy for you to figure out how to replicate this build if you want to. It is not a particularly powerful build. It is just something I just wanted to have, like a great sword build to beat Valhazak with, and this is what I came up with. So if you guys stay until the end, that build will be shown in the video itself. But yeah, you guys, that's really all I had to say. Hopefully you guys will check out the Dark Souls stuff that I'll be putting out as well. But don't you worry, because Monster Hunter is not going anywhere. And one of the really cool things that is happening this year is that basically I've been playing Monster Hunter World all this time, enjoying the crap out of it, straight up loving it. Now I'm going to be playing quite a bit of Dark Souls, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And come August, we're going to have Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate coming out for the Switch. Is 2018 not turning out to be friggin' fantastic? Not to mention, we still have Code Vein incoming as well. Thank you guys very much for watching. Comments and feedback in the comment section below. Love reading all of your comments, you guys. Really appreciate all of the support. Remember, if you enjoy it, subscribe, notifications, all that stuff. And I'll see you guys on the next one.